Oh, the devil are you? Whoa. Okay, so anyway, now I'm going to be filming this using my phone mic. I got a bit to do around the town today, so I don't want to be carrying around my proper mics and stuff. So I do apologise if the sound isn't great. Hopefully I can adjust the gain in the editing or something like that. Anyway, so I'm in the market for some new speakers. So I went to Richer Sounds, which in the UK is quite a well-known hi-fi store. And we've got one in Cardiff, which is just down the road from where I work. So I've taken a long lunch break today. And so the other day when I went in, I'm looking for a Wharfedale Evo 4.4, and a very good speaker, well rated. And the guy said, "What amp do you have?" And I said, "A Marantz PM 6007. And he said, you know, he said it might not be powerful enough to drive these speakers. My amp is rated at 40 watts at 8 ohms and 60 watts at 4 ohms. So he said it might not be very good at low volumes. You know, you need a more powerful amp to get more headroom." And I do see what he means, but I'm not sure. I wasn't sure. I was like, oh, okay. And he said, "What about the Wharfedale Diamond 4.3s or the Dali Oberon 5s? And I was like, I did have my heart set on the Wharfedale Evo 4.4s. And he said, "Why didn't you take the Wharfedale Evo 4.4s home, trial them, and then if you don't like them, you can send them back?" And I was like, I don't really want the hassle of getting these big speakers out, putting them up, trialing them, sending them back. Meh. So he said, "I tell you what then, why don't you bring your amp in and trial these speakers?" So I was like, "Oh, hello, okay, I'll have a go with that." So I got to get going because my appointment's at 12 and it's 5:02 now. So I got my amp in my bag and I'm going to go and try these speakers, and hopefully he'll let me film in it. So let's get on with it. Well, I have to say, I really enjoyed that. I had a lot of fun with that. I haven't done anything like that before. Something different for me. And it was great to audition 3, good speakers with my amp. So I loved that. I really did. Really enjoyed it. Anyway, so what did I think of the 3? Well, let's start with the Wharfedale Diamond 4.3s. Now, I did think they had a really good amount of low end, considering the 4.3s are the sort of lower sibling to the 4.4s. I thought they had a really good bass, worked well with my amp. Mids were really good. I mean, I have seen reviews where they said the mids are really good on them, but I thought they were just a tad laid back, just a tad, with my amp anyway. Treble was really good, although I did find it a little bit harsh at times. I think though that the Marantz amps are on the bright side. They do tend to be on the bright side. You've got to really watch when you match up your speakers to your amps, especially a Marantz amp. My amp is just a tad bright, and I did find that shone through with the speakers. The treble was a little bit bright at times, a little bit harsh. Good off access, vertical and horizontal, so you could stand up, move to the side, and it didn't really make much difference to the sound of the treble. Good centre imaging, the voices are bang in the middle, and definitely an improvement on my current Wharfedale Diamond 230s. I think they had a little bit of better soundstage, a bit more detail in the music. Yeah, very, very good. But like the 4.3s and the Dalis, they are rear-ported, which may be a problem for my setup because my speakers are quite close to the wall, and the 230s have a downward firing port, not a rear-facing port, like the Dalis and the 4.3s. So let's move on to the Dali. Again, a decent bass. It didn't go quite as deep as the 4.3s, but still very impressive for the size of the cabinet. It's only a small tower, not big at all. And the bass was really tight, really coherent. Really impressed with the bass, although it didn't go quite as low as the 4.3s. Mids were a bit more forward, really detailed, really there. Treble was very clear, worked well with my amp. I was really impressed with the Dalis, how well the treble worked. It wasn't harsh at all, perfectly clear, no roll-offs at all. And an excellent off access, just fantastic. The way they've designed that tweeter, you could stand up, move to the side, move to the left, move to the right, up and down. I couldn't hear any difference really in that treble coming across all the mids at all. So really good off access. Fantastic centre imaging on them. I'm really impressed with that. Look, my 230s do have a bit more bass in them, I think. But in saying that, you know, they are a far bigger box with bigger drivers. But really impressive for the size. Just was really impressed with them. Now we go on to the Evos now, the Evo 4.4s. Now I had my heart set on these, and I was really looking forward to it, so I saved them till last. And I was bitterly disappointed. I think the guy was right that my amp just didn't have enough oomph in it to drive those speakers sufficiently. Although I would have expected from a pair of 1200 pound speakers to still sound pretty good, even with my amp, you know, with 60 watts at 4 ohms. But they sounded really flat. The bass wasn't as good as the other two speakers. Just wasn't impressed at all, and their off-axis vertical is pretty poor. Horizontal, when you move in side to side, is pretty good with them tweeters, the AMT tweeters. But when you stood up, you did lose a little bit of detail from that tweeter. So was not impressed at all with the Wharfedale Evo 4.4s. Bit disappointed, and again, it could just be down to my amp. It couldn't power them properly, because I've read all these great reviews about these Evo speakers saying how good they are, but I was not impressed. So out of the three, I think I go for the Dalis, just because everything was right about them. Okay, they didn't have just a tad less bass than the 4.3s, but my God, they were impressive all around. For the size of the cabinet, it's just phenomenal. Really, really good. So I will be buying the Dalis at some point. Excuse me, I went on the wrong way. And I'll be reviewing them fully when I do get them. And we'll do a comparison to my Wharfedale Diamond 230s to see the difference in them. Although it'll be on YouTube, it won't be great, you know. By the time it compresses it through the microphone I'm using it, I don't know. But it gives you some impression of how good they are compared to the 230s, vice versa. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed it. Probably not, you need to be there really. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video.